Good morning. So this what we discussed last time, the theory of productions, and we almost complete and just look at the quickly look at the PowerPoint presentations. And the last 2 weeks I did without PowerPoint, and these are the basics thing. And mainly last week, what is discussed two things, and the try to derive the maximum value profit function. And also, we did discuss how to derive the minimum value cost function. These two things, there we did the Shepard lemma and the Hotelin lemma. Today, the mainly look at the cost side of the production theory, and just quickly look at. So we start with the economic efficiency, which has two components, technical efficiency and allocative efficiency. Those things we discuss in terms of the examination. I can ask the question related to the economic efficiency that will happen. There, you have to look at how get the allocative efficiency and technological efficiency. And in terms of producers, they try to reach the economic efficiency, either minimize cost given level of output or try to maximize output. For instance, try to maximize output subject to or with the constraint the level of cost, amount of cost. That way, or minimize cost.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, we can't hear you.
Really? Oh, let me try now. You can't hear at all?
For us, we can hear, Professor.
No, we can hear.
We can hear.
Then maybe it's not your problem. Oh, okay. Yeah, what I try to say, minimize the cost. And the constraint is the output, then subject to output the constraint. So in the both cases, you can see the constraint there. Then we have to use the Lagrangian equation. We did those, and we went first order conditions and the second order condition, and we obtain in the both case what happened ultimately, the optimal point to mean cost minimization or output maximization. We reach the point isoquant curve and isocost curve at the tangent point. They are the first condition. Input price ratio, let's say W is wage, R is price of capital, equal to MRTS, marginal rate of technical substitution. So that is the slope of the isoquant curve. So how to get the marginal rate of technical substitution? We discussed those things, and we prove that it's a diminishing marginal rate of technical substitution. Also, we prove how to get it. This divided by the marginal product of labor and the marginal product of capital. So that way you find the MRTs. With that, the exam question I used to give different way. Most probably I can start with the for instance, given the output function, let's say after the lecture, before the exam, you try some of like this. So let's say this is the output function. And given this output function, and also in the exam, I can give the, let's say, wage rate. For example, let's say $5. R also, because this is from market, let's say $4. The cost, the budget, for instance, let's say today as a producer, you are going to spend, let's assume $100. $100. So with this information, given output function, you should be able to find how many labors you recruit, how many unit of capital you employ. So those are the things you have to find in the exam, the first part of the question. And then you should be able to find with this thing, initial point, how many unit of output you produce given this information. Now, the second part of the question, what I'm going to give you, let's assume that the government imposes tax on wages. Due to tax, assume that the wage rate increase by $1. Now, new wage rate is then $6. With that, I will ask again, how many unit of capital the producer can be employed, how many unit of labors, and now new development, given the amount of budget, that is $100, how many unit of output now can produce. With that, but exactly you have to draw the new development, also the original, and show it the same chart. That is a part of the question also. Is a reduce output up to Q1 to Q2. So that here. So the third part of the question I will ask. Now imagine originally so far using this $100, you use to produce what you have to produce. Why I said that? Because in the years and years, you fulfill certain amount of demand. Let's assume that these numbers originally, with that situation, you produce 80 units. These are not the real value here, just assume. Using $100. Now, after government imposed tax and the wage rate increase, now let's say you can produce only 60 units. You do this calculation after the lectures. Now, the third part of the question, what I asked, because still you are a reputed firm, your clients there, you have to produce 80. Now, the third part of the question I'll ask you, remain to produce 80 units. So the target, keep in 80 units, because that is you can't avoid the client base what you have. what would be the new budget allocation? Definitely more than 100. So that amount you have to find. That is the third part of the question. We did all the things. And the fourth part of the question, I don't tell you right now. So that's related to kind of a policy level question. And also, without drawing this chart, left-hand side, you can see, I don't give marks also. Maybe the part of the question also I asked to draw. Otherwise, if I don't ask, you have to draw. Now, the last question, last part of the question, meaning the third part of the question, is basically now you have the second isoquant curve after taxing. What you have to do, reach the original amount of output, what we assume 80. To get that, you have to move this second budget, second isocost line to reach to original amount of output. There tangent point you can get somewhere here. So that is the one of the exam question. Any clarification? Okay, no. Now this thing also we discussed and related to linked to the microeconomics macro things also we discussed. And so the short-term decision and the long-term decision also we discussed. And basically the short-term, the theory apply when you make the decision factor productivity and the long-term return to scale, those things we discussed. And just to see the short-term, keeping the fixed one input fixed, change in other input, how more, and optimal level to find, it can be 67 or any other number, we did how to do that. And the long run also, both input change, with that the producer move into this direction, there are also optimal size of the firm, how to get it, we discuss. And so those things, how to get, we discuss, you did yourself. And this is also maybe another question, maybe explanation or short note. The relationship between the production curve, which includes the total, average, and the marginal. That also I discussed. This is basically part of the answer, but I did in the class how to make this link, and after that only this comes. So get the 5 marks, you have to do all of them. But I exactly did in the lecture. Yeah, this is the short term, what we discussed. The other thing, why producers take the decision in short term stage 2, we discussed different ways. There we use the elasticity and all the other method what we use. And these tables we did. And isoquant curve, how to get in terms of long run behavior to identify, and all of them we did. So this is the optimal point. Again, like I explained before, how to get optimal point there. So this is the, another thing also, return to scale. Basically, 3 stages long run: increasing return to scale, constant return to scale, and decreasing return to scale. So I did the last time, I think, the class, how the micro level, or in other words, the firm behave with these 3 stages, and I link into the macro, or basically the industrial economics, how practically happen things also I discussed. So these are the three concepts: return to scale, constant return to, and decreasing return. So those are the things what we discussed related to production. The cost side, I did not discuss, but I discussed the ISO cost curve. Today, now I'm going to briefly discuss the cost side of the story. Now, before that, last thing I discussed the last week, how to derive minimum value cost function and using it through the Shepherd lemma and get the labor and the capital input, indirect labor and capital input demand function. And also last time I discussed the maximum value profit function, its properties and the Hotelling lemma also I discussed. The exam either I'll ask this one of these, either derive the minimum value cost function and through the Shepherd lemma, or maximum value profit function and through the Hotelling lemma. That I'll ask. And also, I think is that what I discussed in the physical class to prove diminishing the marginal rate of technical substitution. In other words, why this isoquant curve has negative slope, that also I prove that most probably come for the exam. Is there any clarification or any question? Okay, good. Now, just to start the basic thing related to cost. Now, what we already discussed, the cost is in case of two variable case, let's say the labor and capital. Here you get the labor bill, and in the capital case, the capital cost you get. So there, the W is the wage rate, is the market producer is given, and the R also the market driven, and the is given to the producer. So here, what we usually talk about the concept total cost. And total cost also taking this one as a function of you, with the when you production increase and decrease, the total cost increase and decrease. So in that, if you take a kind of visual understanding, here also apply the short run and long run. Now, in terms of short run, let's assume this two variable, two factor case. We imagine the capital given fixed. Then the total cost has two parts. The first part become variable cost, second part become the fixed cost. Fixed cost. Now this total cost divide by quantity, you will get the average cost. The total cost differentiate with respect quantity. You get the marginal cost. Marginal cost. Now here, in the short run, if fixed cost is a constant number, then to find the marginal cost even when you differentiate the average cost function, sorry, variable cost function, also you can get the marginal cost. It doesn't matter because this is the fixed amount and that is. Now, let's say you have a fixed cost. This is short run situation. Let's say 10 unit, 10 millions or whatever the fixed cost. Now with that total cost start with this point. Total cost. The variable cost start with 0, the same step, and go like that. So that is the usual. And the difference between these two lines is again equal to fixed cost. So that is the behavior. Now with that, we can draw the average cost curves. Here the average cost has two average cost curves, basically three. One is the total average cost. For instance, if the total cost divided by Q, you got the average total cost. Total cost divided by Q. So this path. Then the variable cost divided by Q, you get the average variable cost. Average variable cost. And this same divided by Q, F divided by Q, you get the average fixed cost. All of these average cost curves are U-shaped, kind of this kind of U-shape coming. What does mean? Initially, little high average cost and then decrease after certain level going to start. So here, if you draw, you get the average total cost. This is short run situation, then the average variable cost. Then you get the average fixed cost. It's going to continue like that. Now, another important what we get here, the marginal cost curve. The marginal cost curve. That is the either slope of the, average slope of the total cost curve or slope of the variable cost curve. So that's another important thing. The marginal cost curve always goes the minimum point of the average cost curve. I will take it again and show you. This is the short run, the picture. Important things what you have to understand here. Intake average, let's say average total cost. Let's say average variable cost. I don't know here average fixed cost. The marginal cost curves always goes minimum point of average cost. So this relationship between average cost curves and the marginal cost curves, you must understand. There you will understand why I'm going to do this quickly. Why is go to the minimum point? You will understand. And that's what I'll go to quickly. And the long run, there is no fixed cost. All the inputs changing, no fixed input. So in that way, long run, only you have one average cost curve. Long run. There, differentiate the cost curve, you get the marginal cost curve. That is the long run. Now, the marginal cost curves as well as the average cost curves are function of quantity. But you can say the link there. The quantity again function of L and K. Ultimately, producers take the decision how many number of labors and capital recruit, targeting how many unit of output to be produced. Now, in case of long run, just to visualize the cost curves, we have little U-shape, little flatter average cost curve, the long run, and the marginal cost curve also U-shape, the long run. The marginal cost curve, the long run. Now, I'm going to do right now to see the relationship between these marginal cost and average cost curve. Now, here exam is also very important to see the relationship between marginal cost and average cost. The marginal cost and average cost. For that, we'll start like this. Let's say Q. Let's start the average cost. So we found how to find the average cost Q divided by C divided by Q. C divided by Q. Which means you can write the Q, sorry, C equal AC from this first equation Q. So this is the first equation rearranged. Now to find the marginal cost, so this is we got the average cost curve. find the marginal cost, what you have to do? This constant you differentiate with respect to. Now there, don't forget about average cost also function of Q. So here is also function of Q. So when you differentiate to get the marginal cost, the answer become AC, because when you differentiate here, apply the chain rule, and plus Q D C, AC differentiate with respect Q. So there we get a very important relationship, the marginal cost and the average cost. So that is very important when you answer the exam question into that. Now look at here. Carefully, what is this part? This I name as the equation number 2. This equation number 2, this part mean the slope of the average cost curve. Slope of the average cost curve. You can see slope. Now imagine at this point, you can see the slope at the point A is the minimum point of the average cost curve. Slope becomes 0. Now the first point, like point A, slope of the average cost curve become, that is the minimum point. At the minimum point equal to 0. So look at this equal to 0. This right hand part, the equation, all this part becomes 0, which means you conclude that the marginal cost equal average cost, which means at the point A, at the minimum point, the marginal cost to cross here, because at this point both equal. So that is it. Now look at the average cost curve as a positive slope. This part slope is yes, a positive slope. Which means this is a positive number. Then satisfy this equal here. To satisfy this, when the positive side, I'm talking about this side, average cost curve at the positive side, the marginal cost, let's say the DAC, DQ, that is the slope of the average cost, is positive, then the marginal cost must be greater than average cost. For instance, let's say average cost is right now 8. If this positive number, let's say plus any positive number 2, then the marginal cost you can see here 10, whatever way. That, which means After this point, the marginal cost curve has somewhere like this. Sorry, what I draw is at this point, the marginal cost curve go above the average cost curve. So this is the marginal cost. You see, the marginal cost is greater than average cost curve after that point. Now, the third case here, negative slope of the average cost curve. Just assume this is a negative slope. Here, if it is a negative something, let's say the negative 2, then 8 minus 2 is 6. If it is negative slope, then the marginal cost must be less than average cost. Because if this part become negative. So which means the marginal cost curve must below the average cost that way. And we can see here the situation. So in the exam, if I give question like that, relationship between the marginal cost and average cost, exactly what you have to do, draw this one and this algebra explanation, or maybe you can write 2 sentence also, you get 10 mark. Okay, 10 or 6 mark, it depends on the question, but this slide is enough for that. Any clarification, any question? Okay. No. Now, another important thing, I'm going to draw it again here. Now let's say I draw this kind of average cost curve. And here, the marginal cost curve, if I draw like this, come exactly. Now here you can see the shape of the average cost curve. If I draw the other way, like here, long run average cost curve, long run marginal cost curve. The negative slope, if I draw a line here, you can identify exactly 3 portions. Like you can divide it into 3. The first one, average cost continuously goes down. In mathematically, if you look at the graph, negative slope of the average cost curve. In other words, the marginal cost is less than average cost. The second stage, marginal cost equal average cost. The other thing, you get marginal cost is the minimum point. Sorry, average cost minimum point. The long run. You can identify another stage we call T. There, the marginal cost is greater than average cost, or average cost as slope is positive. Now, if we take to the long run, Now we know this long run mean about expansion of the firm, about the expansion of the firm. Now you can see at a certain level up to the, I name here, let's say A, point A. This is QE. Produce long run amount of quantity QA amount. Let's say 100 unit amount of production the long run. It depends on the size of the firm. Let's say small firm. Now you can see average cost continuously goes down. Then what happens if you are a producer, when the average cost continuously goes down, you continue expansion. If you have a micro level firm, you go until small firm, like that. You expand continuously because you know that unit cost goes down, you can increase your profitability and even you can reduce the prices also. After that, coming to the constant level, unit cost or minimum level, then if we expand further, for example, after QB point, let's say your production is 500. Now, if you produce more than 500, which means the more than 500 to produce, you have to expand the firm. Let's say you have a tuition class. Until get 100 students, your hall is enough and you expand a little bit and getting that. Not, I mean, that wrong example. Because if you take the tuition class, the room is like a short run. Let's say here, until you expand to able to produce 100 unit cost expand after that constant, whatever you produce between 100 and 500, then more than 500, you have to expand further. Your firm become larger and larger, then start to increase unit cost. Why this happen? Why this happen? I mean, these three things, why happen? Why these three things happen? Initially, when you expand the firm, imagine you have a self-employed, then micro level, then small. Then you realize that when you expand certain level, even the medium, you can reduce the unit cost, but after certain level, it get the minimum level. Then if you expand further, let's say the large, very large firm, again start to increase. Why this happen? Before answering to this question, the first level, what we call in the economics terms, economics of scale. Economics of scale, where the continuously unit cost goes down, we call that firm is experience economics of scale. When you start to unit cost increase, that what you can call the third stage, the production we call, or expansion, third stage we call diseconomies scale. This happened due to diseconomies of scale. We will see later on why this economic scale and the diseconomy scale happen. If you say that this diseconomy scale, here the economic scale. There you can identify three stages already. We did stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. As short run and the long run also the production side also you identify. In the production side, what you identify this economic scale range. The production side, the average average output increase. Okay. This stages you part in the first stage we call increase in return to scale. Here the when you this economic scale we call the decrease in return to scale. Here the second stage we found constant return to scale. Constant return to scale. Now the cost side you say the same thing. Increase in return to scale we name as the economic scale. Decrease in return to scale the cost side we see as the diseconomic scale. Now whatever the reason for increasing return to scale are the reason for economic scale. Whatever the reason for diseconomic scale, decrease in return to scale are the reason for diseconomic scale. So very easy. Now, in the production side, what we call constant return to scale, in the cost side, what we call minimum efficient scale. Minimum efficient scale. So they are the get maximum output average and minimum cost. That exactly happen when you try to reach the maximum average production, the optimum level. It's reached to minimum cost, reached to minimum efficient scale. Now, two things I'm going to do here. Then, one, try to identify the reason for economic scale and diseconomic scale. Second, to prove this relationship between average product and average cost curve. And the second relationship I'm going to prove with you, the marginal production and marginal cost curve relationship. These two. I'll do this one second, and the first try to, or maybe we try to understand why a firm experience economic scale, or if you take it the production side, why increase in return to scale in the experience, the long run. Why this economic scale? Now, the economic scale, up to certain level your firm expand, it's happened due to two ways. Due to two ways. The person, imagine you are a self-employed in the micro. Your firm work only two, you and another employee, maybe most probably your wife or your husband or like kind of thing. In that way, both of you or you alone has to do everything. Everything. Think of the firm become little larger and larger, come to the micro level or small level. Then you employ several people for specific activity, what we call specialization. With that specialization, they can give to your firm more than without specialization doing one person everything. Like, for instance, when firms reach to certain level, you may set up separate department for human resource management. There definitely you recruit the best people, human resource, best team. And you set up a separate department, research and development. There also you do the same. Even they, with the experience, they get the specialization and teamwork and their productivity improve. You set up the separate department separate division for marketing. They also do the same. Like the separate production and the team, even not the department, you have to separate team and they specialize, and within the specialization with the experience also, it's the productivity improve. There we developed another curve we call related similar to the average cost curve, experience curve. With experience, what happened? Unit cost continuously reduce. That's what we call internal economic scale. Internal economic scale. When I will show in the PowerPoint presentation those things soon. When within the firm, when you do this kind of economic scale, imagine you introduce a new marketing skill. Imagine you introduce new technology. Imagine you introduce new human resource arrangement. Imagine you introduce a new product, even, or new techniques, different thing. Now, we work in the world with the information goes quickly and it's a trickle-down effect. Whatever you did to your firm, because the competitors also there, either with a trickle-down effect or neighborhood effect, we go to other firm, they also have the same setup also with the competition. They also may be doing the same thing and they also identify new tech. With the industry also kind of working economic scale, they go to the other industry also moving. Let's say you are working in the telecom industry, you have a firm. When you do with the competition, your entire telecom industry also getting productivity improvement, unit cost goes down. That through externality go to the other industries also. So all the industries are interconnected in the economy. With that, what we call external economic scale, where work as a cluster, the Marshall is the one, Albert Marshall is the one introduced this concept. With the working at the cluster as a unit, as a like a group, also expand. That external economics also help you to reduce the unit cost. So two ways, internal economic scale and external economic scale. Both what happen, the unit cost continuously drop down. Unit cost continuously drop down. Let me quickly look at the cost side to understand. I share another slide. I hope you can see. Just quickly. Yeah, here. Now, this is the shape of I hope you can see it right now, what I shared. This is the short long run average cost of the shape. Now, this is the part what I try to explain to you, negative slope and the economic scale. Economic scale occur when the long run average cost decline. Now, their company experience the economic scale and the other part this economic scale. So you can see increasing this economic scale, here the economic scale side, and the minimum point, the minimum efficiency scale. So that's what happens. These are the things I explained. Economic scale due to external economic scale and internal economic scale. How the external economic scale, it expansion of the size of the industry as a whole like I said, the industrial cluster get the external economy. It's not only that, the particular industry also linked to the other industries in the economy. That way also we get the external economics. Okay. So internal economic scale, like it's within the firm operation, like through all these areas, more than that also happen, like I explained. Technical economics, marketing, financial, because you get a specialization in that way. Now the point is, the firm reach to when you're too big, getting unit cost increase like that, reach to this economic scale. That happen. Firm too big to manage. Their administrative costs, for example, management coordination and other administrative costs get into increase. So that exactly happened around 1960, 1970, the industrial world. So there you, if you really do a study, do a research, you can see 1970, 1960, that we had a concept called hierarchy and the getting one firm umbrella concept. But in 1970, 1980, it changed and smallness become beauty and firm become small part. They are depend on the market for other parts and other things. What happened 1990 also realized that smallness has a cost also. Because for instance, though its administrative costs increased, the smallness, what happened, you have a firm like A, now for other parts, not within the firm produce, you have to buy from the market. Markets have so many players, small firms or large firms, so many players. Now what you have to do, your firm A have to deal with, get a good quality and good price and other thing, the other firm. Because the market has so many players, they also change in day to day. And now imagine you produce yogurt and your village has milk producers, so many hundred. Get the best price and best quality every day, every morning. You have to call or you have to visit all the places in village. For you see, that has a certain cost. What we call that cost, what we call transaction cost. Now, what happened when the firm tried to depend on the market, the transaction cost increase. Now you see, hierarchy, one single firm become like administrative cost increase. The Williamson wrote a book also getting to this thing, hierarchy versus market. He got the Nobel Prize also. When you become depend on market, the transaction cost increase. Now, you see right now in the 2000, the firm tried to come back here and reach here. Why? Because if you look at the average cost curve, firm come this side and try to become too large and the average cost high. For example, if you put a drop a ball here, the coin and shake in, ultimately settle down here. To settle down this level, go both sides. Now
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sir. So I think you don't have share. You didn't share the screen. Am I right?
Oh, I did. I don't know. I do take. Yeah. Yeah. This is the same I say again. Can you see right now? Still not?
Yes, sir.
Sir, we can see now, sir.
Can't see?
Can see.
We can see, sir.
Yeah. Before also, did you see? You didn't see?
No, sir.
So I explained so many things using this slide. You did not see.
Yes, sir.
I think you had the wrong slide on view. So you talked us through the different slide from what we could see.
Oh, sorry, but I start with this point, this slide. You didn't see from that point.
Yes.
Oh, why you didn't tell me? Because I told you I'm going to start a new slide and I'm going to show. And I start with the long run. Sorry, because you are too late to respond, which means you must be you are not. Anyway, I start with this point, this slide, this particular to explain the economic scale and this economic scale here. This is I already discussed the average cost shape. And this side, the economic scale, you can see I did already. And there are economic scale and this economic scale. So the full picture I already draw and show, but here you can see here the economic scale, here the this economic scale. So then I came to the point what I already explained using without slide and with slide also external economic scale. There I try to explain that through industrial cluster and the clusters also linked to the other sectors also, they are get the external economic scale I explained. And the other part getting the internal economic scales, there I already explained and saw this, since you did not see the slide, now you can see that it create a more efficient as a, if you create a separate unit and separate division, getting the internal technical economics, marketing economics, and this way, maybe adding more, you get the internal economic scale. So ultimately, the average cost getting increase in the positive slope, what we call this economic scale, they are firm too big to handle management, coordinations and things. They are what I explained. Firm try to become single umbrella or we call hierarchy to market. That concept introduced by the Williamson. He got the Nobel Prize also. If you can read the book of Market Hierarchy. And the hierarchy problem is the average cost getting increase and increase. You can see here, too big to handle the average cost, sorry, administrative cost. Administrative costs become increasing. As a solution, industrial world, you might notice in 1970, especially 1980, more to concept called market. What does mean? Firm keep and their book also published the small is beautiful, smallness. And the small firm, like firm A, now does not produce within the umbrella everything. For example, this is the car company. Now, car company does not produce right now tires and everything. They try to buy outside. Outside, the tire producer, so many, because there is open economy and the perfectly competitive market. They are free to start. They have so many players there, thousands of players. Now, problem is the car company now getting the best price and the best quality. I took the yogurt example, like every day, has to negotiate with them. Negotiate. And the market is also uncertainty, full of pessimistic information, and there are also opportunism and those things. Read the Williamson article, and with this, start in coming to another type of cost. That cost, what we call transaction, what we call Williamson call as a transaction cost. If you read my PhD thesis, and of one of my, of course, now he's a senior professor also. My PhD student especially did the PhD thesis related to this transaction cost. You can get this so many publication also. Professor Priyana, he did the lecture also PhD group. And you can read his article also, his PhD thesis also. Now what happened? This transaction cost try to increase now because depend on the market. As a solution, industrial will move back again, but they can't go back to the, they can't go back to the largest case because then the administrative cost increase. Now, they settle down to some middle path here, what we call hybrid solution. They are networking. Now, the firm tried to build network with the other players. Now, we small firms, I have written so many articles, and my PhD thesis also capture this issue here, this smallness, network and hybrid solution. They are trying to build up a formal or informal way, especially the small firm informally, large firm formally, network with the one example, subcontract. There are different ways they make that one. So that with the micro concept, this economic scale and this economics, how reflect in the macro level. So now the problem is here firm in the hybrid solution develop network, but the certain cost involved here also. There I stopped my PhD study also. Still room for another study to identify or estimate the cost of this networking and compare with the transaction cost and the administrative cost. Why still rely on this networking concept, hybrid solution? Reason must be still cheaper, still low cost compared to the transaction cost and average cost. Because even the informal, like a micro and small business, keeping the networking, maintain the networking is cost involved. For example, if you work with the other small firm, something happened because informally you link with them, you have to visit them, you have to support them, you have to keep this like your social network. You have to maintain. Large scale also maintain the long-term this relationship. For example, subcontract. I did a study recently that called home base for ILO. They are also the trust very important, because if you continuously rely on that network, they may start to cheat in you. So in that involve cost. I don't know, maybe someone PhD student can do a study and the name, get the Nobel Prize even. That kind of cost. It's not the transaction cost. It's not the administrative cost. That cost we have to look at. That's the thing. Now, I again stop sharing this slide and go back to the slide what I using. I hope you can see the slide again. I open the empty slide. Can you see?
Yes, sir.
Anyone? Okay, great. Please tell me when I do that if you don't see it in here. Now here, so now we have another half an hour. Another thing I tried to explain before, the relationship between these two relationships. Average product and average cost, and the marginal product and marginal cost. So I'm going to show that relationship or prove that relationship right now. For example, now that may be helpful for your exam. If you take the average product curve, we did discuss and we know that relationship pattern. And right now we discuss the average cost curve. Now the beauty here, when the average product reaches to the maximum level, average cost is to minimum level and goes like that. You see, mirror reflections come. How to do it? That's a very important relation, that relation. Now for that, let's say the average is the average variable cost or average cost. You can say that I take the average variable cost. With the same shape, we can get it. You know how to get the average variable cost? Total variable cost anyway is WL. L is the labor, W is the wage rate. Then how to get the average variable cost? WL divide by Q. So that is very simple, right? So in the exam, if I give the question, you have to do. Now, this is the average variable cost equal WL, that is the total variable cost divided by Q. Now here, this W is constant or given. Now look at rest of the part of the equation. That is L divided by Q. No specific meaning, but you know Q divided by L. We did right now also, you know that. That is the average product of labor. Average product of labor. Which means L divided by Q is equal to 1 divided by APL. Now you understand that thing. Now I reflect here average cost equal W divided by AP. I hope you got this point right now. Equation number 2. Now here look at W is given constant. Let's say $10. Now when average product increase, here the equation denominator, average product increase since the numerator is constant, this must goes down. That exactly happened here. When the average product increase, so you see this decrease. Opposite, they say the average product decrease, since this W is constant, this must increase. Otherwise, this it will not happen. So that is what we are talking about exactly. Point here, when this decrease, this increase. Now the point here, average product goes to the maximum point. And this is constant, this has to be the minimum point. So that's what you're talking about, this point A. So you can see the relationship in the exam if I give the answer. So you have to do exactly what I did here, get 5 marks. Very simple exercise. Now look at the relationship between marginal cost and the marginal product. That took. Now here, the marginal product come here, the maximum and cross the optimal point, average cost, and come here, the marginal product. So that and the marginal cost, the other side, it come negative and goes like that, the marginal cost. So here, when you reach to point B, the maximum marginal product is reached here, minimum marginal cost point B. So you can see that again the reflection. So how do you prove that? How do you prove that? Now, let's say the marginal cost. Before that, let's say variable cost equal, like I did here, WL. Now find the marginal cost. What you have to do, differentiate this variable cost. We did. That's the first thing what we did. Differentiate with respect to, sorry, variable cost. Differentiate with respect to. Now, which means we already got the variable cost here, W. Now, equation number 3, if you look at here, W is again, we know the given and constant. Second part of the equation, not familiar, but we know this one. So that is the marginal product of labor, which means the marginal cost equal what we get ultimately W divided by MPL. Now, same thing like we did before. Since this is constant, if this increase the marginal product, we are talking about this part, average marginal cost goes down. This must go down. Opposite, this increase, what you are talking about this side, this must increase the marginal cost. So if the marginal product comes to the optimal point in that way, point B I'm talking about, the marginal cost has to reach the minimum point. So this particularly you have to understand for the exam explanation question. If you look at the past papers, I asked you to practice before the exam last 5 years, because I teach this microeconomics from 2009. Last 5 years, take the question paper. This year also, no much different. If you completely do last 5 years, this kind of questions I have the given. Now, maybe related to cost, last point I want to discuss with you about some relationship and to understand the why producers behave to produce the constant return to scale, which means the scale. We must understand the elasticity, output elasticity. In case of two variable, first we get the labor elasticity, labor output, and the capital. We did before, what is how to get the labor output elasticity, that is a normal formula. You know what does mean elasticity. Similarly, the capital elasticity also you can find. But here, this part, the familiar right now, you know, that is the marginal product of labor. And this part also, exactly you don't know, but this is, but right now we did already 1 divided by the average product of labor. This also we did 2 weeks ago. Now, which means we can rewrite the labor output elasticity as marginal product of labor divided by average product of labor. Now, similarly, we can write the capital output elasticity also. So that is this part. Marginal product of capital divided by the marginal average product of labor, average product of capital. Which means the total output elasticity, you can get the marginal product of labor divided by average product of labor plus marginal product of capital divided by the average product of capital. So this, I think now you can understand. You can understand. Now, this equation number 3, I can rewrite here epsilon, that is the elasticity, marginal product of labor multiply its average product mean 1 divided by average product mean L divided by Q. So here L, Q, you can rewrite. And plus second part of the equation, similarly, I can write marginal product of capital multiply A Q. I hope you understand that is KQ mean 1 over APK. Now, if you remember today also what we discussed at the optimal level, when you get this production optimal level, the condition satisfy at this point what we discussed. Like here, this is we discussed the price ratio. Well, marginal product of labor divided by marginal product of capital. That optimal condition, you can rewrite, oh, that is the textbook also you can see. In other words, MPL divided by W, that is the per dollar labor productivity, and must equal MPK divided by R, the optimal point. Now what I am going to do here, this equation number 4, first part of the equation, right hand side, multiply by W over W. You see nothing happen, like multiply by 1. Second part of this equation, right hand side, I multiply R over R. So nothing happened to the top entire equation. It's like multiply by 1 because R divided by R1. So I rewrite here, little bit rearranging. Total output velocity equal MPL divided by W, that is the new term I and multiply W L divided by Q. Similarly, the plus, the second part of the multiply by R over R. So you get this equation number 5. Equation number 5 you get it. So how to get it is right hand side. First part multiply by W over, second part W over R over R. Now here, according to this optimal point, economic efficient point, all the producers produce in this condition satisfied. Which means at the optimal level, that it really happened in the practically, these two equal. Then I will rewrite here this equation number 5. MPL is now the common W WL plus RK divide by Q, better because this common. So that point what we now go. Now here, as you see not enough space, I rewrite here, but we get this velocity equal MPL divided by W WL plus RK divided by Q. Now this equation number, I think 6, look at carefully. This part. The denominator is the total cost. Here Q. C divided by Q, we already know now, that is the average cost. That is the average cost. So, you know, this part is the average cost. Entire. This part we did before. MPL divided by We proved that before. W equal MPL. You look back, you note if you have. Oh, I will show you where we did it here. This one. This one. The marginal cost. That equal to marginal cost. But that is equal 1 divided by marginal. So the marginal cost is what you got there. NT equal W over MPL. So that is the reciprocal then. Now here, first part of the equation which mean equal 1 divided by marginal. So now I can rewrite here the epsilon, that is the velocity output, AC divided by MC. So that is the conclusion what we got. That's the conclusion. Now look at the cost curve here. Average cost and the marginal cost. Now look at this average minimum point. There the marginal cost equal, I'm talking about the point A here. So point A here. That the minimum efficiency scale or second stage or constant return to scale point. Since the average cost equal marginal cost, the output elasticity become equal to 1. Here, elasticity become equal to 1. What does mean? If you expand your firm's same rate, the output also expand the same rate. So that it means constant return to scale. If you look at the production side, sorry here, I think I better go to another slide and show you. What we draw here. Average cost. The marginal cost. What we got the conclusion here, output elasticity equal average cost equal divided by the marginal cost. With that way, the point A here, since average cost equal marginal cost, the elasticity become equal to 1. So you know what is elasticity? 1%, for example, increase inputs, output also increase by 1%. So that reflects the, if you look at the relationship just now we discussed here, average product and the marginal product. Now here, constant return to scale, their velocity, that what we found right now, equal to 1. Using the cost curve also, you got it, velocity equal to 1. Now here, look at if average cost is greater than the marginal cost, the velocity, where the numerator is greater than, velocity must be greater than 1. So what we are talking about, this is 1 here, average cost curve you can see above, and the greater than the marginal cost, which means that the elasticity is greater than 1. Now, here you can see the marginal cost is greater than average cost, which means the diseconomist rate, if marginal cost is greater than average cost, you get the elasticity is less than 1. So this range you can get the elasticity is less than 1. Less than 1. Now, when we discuss the production side also, we found that using the MPL with elasticity, MP divided by APL. You can see here, marginal product is greater than average product, which means the stage 1, we remember we discussed the elasticity greater than 1. Here the optimal point, elasticity become 1. There you get the max minimum point, that's the constant return to scale. Stage 2, here what you get, elasticity is greater than or between 1. Apply this one. Yeah. Here also we notice same thing. You can see, looking at the elasticity, the economy scale here, produces output elasticity is greater than 1, which means rational producers continue production, continue expansion of firm. When elasticity less than 1 means they visit back, come back, and if you not expand, not that. Now one of the exam question, part of the exam question, if I'm talking about the long run, producers reach this economist range, too big to handle. Are they stop as an entrepreneur reinvestment and thing? And what kind of strategy they can use to get more profit, more richer, more become best? I hope you understand. And think of answer. If you are a producer, what do you do? What is your strategy at that point? And remember when you discuss the short run also, we discuss reach to the third stage. What your strategy? Not stay in the market, more richer in terms of as your firm, or you also profitable, what you can do strategy. So that think of part of the exam question. You as a producer, you as a manager, you as a worker, maybe your own firm, you might have done those things, or maybe you have to think. So that is the kind of a policy level question. Think of that. It's not textbook answers. I'm anyway not looking at anything textbook answers. Your experience, your understanding, you have to answer. Up to now, I used to give open book exam, but the coordinators, the department, they don't like it. In that way, I have to decide this year. That the last point today, here come. With that, we'll finish today the production theory lesson. That would I take another 5 minutes. And cost also next week, market structure I will discuss. So last point, this may be helpful for the exam, not PhD student again. Maybe I'll give you a question like that related to cost minimization and output maximization. Let's say I give a question like that, output function. Of course, the last week I did this exercise, but just to help you for the final exam is coming soon. Let's say you got the production function like this. It's production function like it. You should be able to derive minimum value cost function and the maximum value profit function. So we did the last time, the exam coming. Today also I summarized that. And also use the cost minimization or maximization. The condition what you need MRTS equal input price ratio. So this particular example, when you do the example, when you practice this one, you may get the answers like that. Let's say beta divided by alpha K L, that is the MRTS equal W. Just to help you, I give this one. You may get that, this condition. Then you have to derive labor input demand function and the capital input demand function. Yeah. So what you get answer, you do it exercise, don't just write the exam this answer. You to derive this one, you have to do the exercise differentiation and do. For example, the labor demand function, answer what you get 1 over alpha plus beta. So that is the answer, but to get this answer, you have to do this exercise. Beta divided by alpha. So power to the alpha divided by alpha plus beta multiply W minus alpha beta R plus alpha plus. So similarly, you derive the capital optimal also. With that, like I asked you, you can get the minimum value cost function. Just assuming in the exam, I'll give the beta equal alpha equals 0.5, which means 1 over 2. Then the minimum value cost function, like last week, what we did, the function of R, W, Q. The answer definitely what you get here, 2 R 0.5, W 0.5. So don't just put the answer, this is the answer get you have to do this exercise. And the exam question, then given R, for example, let's say the R, I'll give you in the exam $. W, let's say I give you $12. You should be able to find the minimum cost. Now that's not difficult because we have minimum value cost function here. R is 3, W is 12, you can get the answer. For this particular answer, the particular question answer, you can get the 12Q. I miss here the Q part, right? Q2, QR, 12Q. That is the total cost function. The particular production function, given WR and thing. This is the, now with that in the exam, you should be able to find average cost function. Just divide this by Q. And the marginal cost function, also you should be able to find. You know, the average cost is just divide total cost by, right now we did the Q. The marginal cost is differentiate with respect Q. So that you should be able to. Now, with that given output, for example, if you given Q as, let's say, 40 or something, or 50, you should be able to find the total cost also. Total cost. Now, the second or third part of the question may be come in. If this parameter, this is just parameter, this thing, like for example, R O wage rate increase, R is still same. Let's say the government imports heavy 100% or something like 36% or even for wage earner, that increase, let's say 100%, it become 24. What will happen to the average cost? What will happen to the marginal cost? How much the total cost to produce sport? So this kind of question, most probably the same question I give the final exam. The exercise I did here, basically answers. Hopefully you can do. So with that, I'll stop today. I will share this slide. If you have any clarification or questions, I don't think so, because only I can see the PhD student here. Only few masters, 1 or 2. So I want to share the others, your maybe 3, 4 master students here. These are the questions and the exam paper, though they didn't come to the lectures, it's not easy since this year, since they don't come, I give a very difficult question also, question paper, because they don't take seriously this year, I noticed that. So with that, I'll stop, and again, thank you very much. And if you have any questions, I can wait another 2 minutes, and otherwise you can leave the meeting. Next week, maybe physical or online, I'll take a 4-hour class because I want to complete all the market structure question thing. We will share the time next weekend. So because this month I have to finish all the lecture series. Thanks once again and see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks.